What up, guys? Coming at you with another AMA. As always, leave your comments below in YouTube and I will get to them. This episode is brought to you by us, Santa Cruz Paleo. We just launched these new magnesium potassium capsules, magnesium glycinate with a touch of potassium to keep your magnesium potassium balance in check. I like to take 2 to 3 of them in the evening. And we also just launched our vitamin D3 in extra virgin olive oil, really high quality stuff right there. And we just restocked our protein, available in horchata and chocolate. They always sell out really quick, so if you want to try them out, go get them. Type in Santa Cruz Paleo on Amazon or go to santacruzpaleo.com. If you go to santacruzpaleo.com, you can use the code SantaCruz10 at checkout. So let's dive into this week's AMA. And let's get to these questions. Okay, this question is, Brennan, other than fruit, what is a good snack that I can have at work when I can't cook a real meal? So this is gonna come down to meal prepping. You have to learn how to meal prep. What you're gonna do is get a glass Pyrex, and the night before you're gonna make an actual meal, real whole food. I think some convenient things to eat at work or school, whatever, is chicken and rice is a really good one to do. Beef and rice is a really good one to do. And then you can just bring a piece of fruit and have that sort of as your dessert. And there you go. That's healthy protein, healthy carbohydrates, all in one meal. The next question is about cardio. Brennan, how do I improve my stamina and endurance? So there's basically 3 levels of cardio. If you look at like the zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3 cardio, I think you want to train all of them. What does this mean? This means on some days you want to do stuff like a longer walk, like maybe a 30-minute walk where you're really not getting your heart rate up too much. It's just steady state cardio. The next zone is sort of that slightly more difficult, maybe a 20, 30 minute, but at a harder pace, so you're really sweating now. And then the third pace is probably going to be done by sprints. I think the most time-effective way to build your cardio, if you're doing it through a workout, is interval training. Interval sprints is what I like to do. So I'll get on the assault bike and I'll do 30 seconds all out and then 30 seconds rest. 30 seconds all out and 30 seconds rest. And if you do like 8, 9, 10 rounds of that, you're gonna start to develop some really, really good cardio. The other thing is doing a sport. Get a mountain bike, go to jiu-jitsu, play basketball, go swimming. That's going to develop your cardio as well. The next question is, Brennan, what natural oils work as a sun protection? So beef tallow provides a small amount of SPF, but it's not really enough to protect you from the sun. You want to look into a beef tallow with non-nano zinc formula, and that's going to be something that you can basically use as a sunblock. But honestly, the best thing you can do is throw on a shirt or a hat. That's the best way to protect yourself from the sun. I wouldn't use those chemical-based sunscreens as they contain a lot of really bad compounds and you don't want to be spraying those onto your skin. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on how to not get addicted to video games? Maybe they're struggling with some video game addiction. I think this is pretty common in younger people because video games are getting better and better and their goal is to hook you in. I think the best thing to do here is time block. What does this mean? If you want to play video games, set aside 45 minutes or an hour to play video games and set an alarm on your phone. And if you break that alarm, if that alarm goes off and you sit there and you continue to play video games, you have to have some type of punishment for yourself. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. That should be like a tragic thing for you if that alarm goes off and you convince yourself somehow to keep playing video games. That should be an alarm bell ringing in your brain. It should be a big deal to you. If it's not, then you have bigger issues to work on. But yeah, set that alarm, and when that alarm goes off, you stop playing video games. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on cooking rice and bone broth for added protein? So cooking your rice and bone broth is absolutely amazing. It's just one of the best ways to make rice. Bone broth is really rich in gelatin, collagen, and protein. Now you are going to lose some of that protein because a lot of that bone broth simply evaporates when you're cooking rice. So if you really want to get all the benefits of bone broth, I would drink it. But if you have some extra bone broth, you can cook your rice in it. It is going to add slightly more protein, but honestly, it's just so delicious. It's just a really good way to make rice. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on microwaved dinners? So I actually have no issues with microwaves. A lot of people, I think, would expect me, being as I'm into alternative health, to be anti-microwave. I've looked at all the studies, I've looked at all the research. It does not appear that microwaves are doing anything unique to food that is damaging the nutritional value. Now, any heating of food is gonna damage the nutritional value. So when you look at a study saying, oh, there's slightly less nutrition in microwaved food, there is slightly less nutrition in food that's just cooked. That's just how heating works. So I don't actually have any issues with microwaves. The only issues I have with microwaves is that the texture of your food, heating it up in the microwave usually is not as good as throwing it in the air fryer or throwing it in the oven or heating it up on a stovetop with a little bit of olive oil or fat. but there's nothing bad about microwaves. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on Lily's stevia sweetened chocolate bars? So I think stevia is totally fine, especially if it's stevia leaf extract. There are some companies doing heavily concentrated stevia, which I'm not so sure about. It doesn't really seem natural to me. In our protein, we use stevia leaf, so it's just like a touch of sweetener. I think Lily's stevia sweetened chocolate would be a way better option than other chocolates. Now, you can also get Lindt 90% chocolate, and there's gonna be a few grams of cane sugar in there, which, I'm not a big fan of cane sugar, but if we're talking, 2-3 grams, it's really not that big of a deal. That is also a good option. And yeah, the Lily's thing, I'm a fan of them. The next question is, Brendan, I like to add some sweetener to my coffee. What's the healthiest way to sweeten your coffee? The healthiest way to sweeten your coffee would be a touch of local raw honey in your coffee. I would not do these Splendas. I would not do actual sugar. You could do a touch of honey or a touch of maple syrup, and I think that's fine. The next question is, Brendan, the Lakers are up on the Warriors 3-2. Can you predict the series, how it's gonna go? Man, last night, Steph went off. He played really, really well. Draymond played well. They didn't have as many turnovers as they've had in the past. I think the Warriors are going to win the next game, and they're going to take Game 7. They're going to come back. They're going to beat LeBron, come back from 3-1. I got the Dubs in 7. The next question is, Brendan, how can I get over sugar addiction? So sugar addiction actually starts in your gut, and it is very difficult to get over. The first 2 to 3 weeks of not eating sugar are going to be brutal. There's little gut bacteria that feed off sugar that are going to convince you. They work with your brain. Your gut and your brain aren't separate, and they're going to try to convince you to eat sugar. It's really how it goes, and if you've quit sugar, you know what I'm talking about. What you can do is there's a few supplements and things you can do. One is take alpha-lipoic acid, also known as ALA. This is a good supplement for blood sugar management. Another one is N-acetylcysteine. This is going to help your liver detox. And the other one is L-glutamine powder. L-glutamine powder is extremely affordable. It's available anywhere. You probably heard about it for muscle recovery, but it also helps blood sugar regulation. And next time you have a sugar craving, if you drink, a big thing of L-glutamine water, just like 5 grams of L-glutamine in some water, that can definitely help. What you want to do also is see if you can get in the sauna, as your body literally has bacteria, aka candida, that is going to overgrow when your body consumes so much sugar, processed sugar, especially for so many years. So you want to get that sort of out of your body. It's a difficult process. Have some mental willpower. Avoid those sugar cravings for a few weeks, and trust me, your health will radically transform. The next question is, Brendan, how can you help your lungs recover from smoking? So I'm assuming maybe you smoked cigarettes or something and you've quit and you're still feeling some negative effects in your lungs. The first one is, there is a study on this, that literally getting fresh air into your lungs, like in a rapid way. So if you live near like any nature preserve, or like in here, they're like 20 minutes that way, there's like a nice nature preserve, I would go out there and try to do cardio. When you go mountain bike in the woods or something, you can literally feel you breathing in fresh air and cleaning your lungs. Your lungs can clean themselves. The other is a supplement that I just talked about, N-acetylcysteine. If you look up N-acetylcysteine lung function, there are some solid studies showing that N-acetylcysteine can benefit your lung health. So you should probably look into that. The other thing I would look into is hitting the sauna. Again, so key for lung health. Those are really the two things. And yeah, don't smoke, don't vape. The next question is, Brendan, do you feel comfortable eating at taquerias or taco trucks, knowing that they use seed oils? I think it's a good cheat meal. And why I think that is, you're pretty much getting corn, meat, maybe some avocado, some cilantro, some onions, and yeah, they probably cook with seed oils. So I think it's like a good option for a cheat meal. It's certainly healthier than, McDonald's or Jack in the Box or whatever, you're looking at. So I consider taco trucks and taquerias a good place to have a cheat meal. The next question is, Brendan, should I eat Quaker rice cakes? What are my opinions on rice cakes? I think rice cakes are fine. I'm not really a big fan of the texture, but if you are making some type of healthy meal with them, I think they're totally fine. Make sure there's no additives or added sugars or weird stuff in there. But other than that, you're good to go. The next question is, why is raw milk better than pasteurized milk? So when the pasteurization process occurs, it kills an enzyme called lactase. Lactase is what helps your body digest lactose. Lactose is the sugar found in milk. So raw milk contains this enzyme that helps you digest dairy. So for a lot of people that have lactose intolerance, if they consume raw dairy, they don't get that lactose intolerance because the enzyme lactase is intact. So I think raw milk is an amazing food. It's really good for you, but a lot of people don't have access to it, which is why I don't talk about it too much, because it's one of those things it's really hard to get your hands on. But if you can get your hands on it, go for it. The next question is, Brendan, is it beneficial to eat maybe a less diverse diet, like the same thing every day? So what I would say is for an optimal diet, you want to have some foods that you just kind of rotate in and out. I obviously have my staple meals that I eat often, and I think it's totally fine to have that consistency, but you do want a somewhat diverse diet over the course of like a month. And there's some evidence on this. There's gut microbiome diversity, and also from an evolutionary perspective, it would make sense that we relied on a multitude of foods, that we didn't just have one or two types of foods. So how could you do this? Well, if you're gonna do, a lot of grass-fed beef, if you're gonna do like I do, if you're gonna do a lot of, steak like I do, switch it up sometimes and have some chicken, have some salmon, have some eggs. You can throw in a bit of diversity into your diet pretty simply while keeping those same pillars of, okay, I'm gonna do meat and fruit for lunch. Cool, what meat are you gonna do? What fruit? Switch it up sometimes. It's okay to have those meals that you go back to often, but I would have some diversity in your diet. There's some studies on that. The next question is, Brennan, are there any fruits you would avoid? Now, I've seen some people talk about, strawberries are high in, oxalates and stuff like that. There's not really too many fruits I would avoid. I'm not someone who completely avoids oxalates. I just try to eat a low oxalate diet. I had that fruit in Costa Rica that was disgusting, the noni fruit. It tasted like raw cheese, or like not raw cheese, like fermented cheese. But that's a kind of rare thing. I can't really think of any fruits that I would avoid or are bad for you in any way. So no, I can't think of any. Okay, the next question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on Gatorade Fast Twitch? So the ingredients in this product, guys, you're talking, it's just artificial sweeteners, caffeine, some water, some vitamins. There's nothing in there that's really gonna support fast twitch muscle fibers or anything like that. It's a marketing gimmick. If you really wanna support your muscles before a workout and you're gonna do some really intense fast twitch exercises, I would recommend having some honey, some raw honey, and a good salt-based electrolyte. That's really gonna support, fast twitch muscle fibers, stuff like that. The Gatorade Fast Twitch doesn't really have anything in there inherently that's gonna help support that. The next question is, Brennan, is there any merit to tanning your balls? We've seen this get it got really popular on TikTok, I feel like a few months ago. People were like, oh, you have to tan your balls. There are no studies on that whatsoever. I enjoy getting naked in the sun purely for aesthetics, you know what I mean? To have a nice even tan when it's acceptable, of course. But I don't think there are such significant health benefits to tanning your balls that it's something you should really, go after and try to do. If you're chilling alone and you can do that, I think it's great, and I think getting sunlight everywhere could have some health benefits, but there's no studies on that. The next question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on dried fruit like raisins? So dried fruit can have a higher sugar content. I don't have anything against dry fruit, but you do want to watch out because it can be a lot of fructose, like dried mango and stuff like that. You're going to get a lot of fructose from that, and the actual vitamins and some of the prebiotics can be lessened. So keep an eye out for that. I do like dates, big fan of dates. So yeah, just be careful of the sugar content. The next question is, Brennan, I live in Europe and I can't get your beef tallow moisturizer, which is selling really well. People love that stuff for their skin. What's some of the next best options? So you should be able to get or make beef tallow somehow. You can look up how to make your own beef tallow. It is going to be difficult to filter it like we do, so it doesn't have that beef smell, but you could look into trying to do that. There are other options. Jojoba oil is an oil that's, pretty non-comedogenic. So yeah, those are some options right there. The next question is, Brennan, is sugar okay before doing a long endurance sort of exercise, like a 2-hour run? This guy's saying he tries to justify it by saying he's gonna burn it off basically. So the thing with processed sugar is it's going to negatively affect your gut microbiome. And there's going to be more and more research that comes out about this. There's already some. So if you're saying, hey, if I'm eating, a Snickers bar, am I going to burn it off in my workout? That is not how the human body works. Now, in terms of weight loss and weight gain, sure, you're going to burn off those calories. You're probably not going to store that as excess body fat. But food affects your immune system. It affects your gut. It affects your brain health. I would not eat a bunch of processed sugar before a workout, especially because if you want to do some sugar before a workout, you can have honey, you can have dates, you can have fruit, you could even have a protein shake with a lot of bananas in there, something like that. That would be a way better option than simply being okay, I'm gonna eat a bunch of processed food. Not a good idea. Okay, the next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on sea moss? So sea moss got very popular as a supplement, especially in the vegan world, and then it sort of transcended into just everywhere. People were just so stoked on sea moss. Oh, it contains, this amount of minerals which are essential for the human body. So sea moss and Shilajit are two supplements that they work, or people feel them because they are really mineral rich substances. sea moss is not really a good idea to buy because of the following. One, a lot of it's contaminated with mold because it's sort of this wet gelatinous substance. I mean, it's sea moss. So a lot of it gets moldy, and then a lot of it has carrageenan, which is, seaweed basically is where you get carrageenan from, and that can be a gut disruptor in a lot of people. Not really a fan of sea moss. You're better off, if you want a really mineral-rich substance, take beef liver, take bone marrow. That's gonna give you that same feeling that you get, and honestly, I think Shilajit would be better than sea moss. Not a big fan of sea moss. I understand why when people take it, they start to feel better because most people are mineral deficient, but longer term, just get beef liver. The next question is, Brennan, what is basically the best temperature to drink my water at? So I've looked into this research because I was one of those people who thought that drinking, cold water can inhibit your digestion. There really isn't any hard data on that, although in Eastern medicine, they have always said don't drink cold water at your meals because it can inhibit your digestion. So I think that's definitely something to take into account because it is really difficult to do these studies. You're trying to measure gastric juice and digestive enzymes. How accurate are they? I don't know. I prefer to not drink really cold water around the time that I'm eating because it can mess with your digestion, but I would just say drink whatever temperature of water makes you happy. After the sauna, I love a really cold water. And in the wintertime, I oftentimes like drinking like tea or hot water. It makes me feel good. So just whatever temperature you like. The next question is, Brennan, what is your opinion on electric cars? Are they actually better for the environment than regular cars? This is like taking the world by storm in the last couple of years, so much so that they're saying they're going to start to tax us more to help build out the infrastructure for electric cars. The problem with these electric cars is the materials that go into their batteries are it's messed up where they're sourced from. A lot of times there's cobalt in there, which is sourced from the Democratic Republic of Congo mostly. So these electric cars aren't so much better, and yeah, they're not better for the environment. The next question is, Brennan, what do you think about corn tortillas? So I don't think corn is really like some amazing food for your gut. The way that we prepare it now is so different than how corn was consumed for thousands and thousands of years, which is with natural fermentation. So that said, if you can find a good corn tortilla that has simple ingredients like masa and lime, there shouldn't be too many ingredients in a corn tortilla, and you like it, I think it's fine. I don't think it's really a health promoting food, but if it's something you enjoy, I think it's fine to have every now and then. The next question is, Brennan, is frozen fruit okay to have in your protein shakes? Is that an okay thing to throw in? Is there any, detriments of the fruit being frozen? No, in fact, frozen fruit can oftentimes have more nutritional value than fresh fruit. And oftentimes you can get organic frozen fruit for cheaper. So I'm actually a huge fan of frozen fruit. Go get your frozen banana, frozen blueberries, and look for organic because it's going to be pretty affordable in the frozen bags. The next question is, Brennan, I heard you mention a gut reset in a previous episode. How could I do it? What is a gut reset? So how you do a gut reset is first involved with what you're eating. So you really want to do basically an autoimmune paleo-based diet. So that means eliminating all bread, dairy, even eggs. You're trying to do an autoimmune diet, which you can look up on your own, eliminating foods like FODMAPs and other gut disruptors. It's a very restrictive diet, but it only needs to be done for a few weeks. You're also going to try supplements like our leaky gut capsules. You can mimic the ingredients in there. If you Google Santa Cruz leaky gut, you can take supplements like L-glutamine, and you really want to start to attack your gut bacteria. You can look up SIBO, S-I-B-O, and that's a very, very, very common condition that people have, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so you can try taking some supplements for that, and that's going to be a good framework for a gut reset. It's really important. I think when you're first getting involved with health, doing one of those, it'll tell you how messed up your gut's probably been. The next question is, Brennan, what do you eat on flights? Because the food on planes really isn't the best quality at all. What do you eat on a flight? So on a longer flight, I'll bring a bag of these carnivore snacks. It's like a dehydrated ribeye. They're really, really good. And also what I'll do sometimes, I'll bring my protein, and then I just do water, protein, and a banana, and I shake it up really hard in a shaker bottle. And the banana is a little clumpy, but it doesn't really matter. It still tastes good, and that's a really good way to kind of get through a flight. But if it's a shorter flight, I just fast. I'm not too worried about not eating for an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. When it's longer than 3 hours, I start to consider just bringing some food on board for myself. Epic bars are also good. They make a bison cranberry epic bar, which you can almost get anywhere, and those are a good option. Next question is, Brennan, I'm getting dandruff. What are your thoughts on dandruff? How do I stop dandruff? So much of the dandruff that we see is just because people are over shampooing their hair. Every single day they get in the shower, they take their shampoo and conditioner, which has 40, 50 chemicals, a lot of drying compounds on there, and they're scrubbing out all the natural oils on their scalp. And then your scalp tries to basically catch up, just like your skin does when you don't rub in any like good moisturizing compounds into it, and it produces dandruff. And it also just wipes your skin of its own microbiome. Your skin has its own microbiome. So what I would say is stop using the shampoo so often, and you'll probably see your dandruff go down. Also, get a shower filter for your shower. I have an organic Jaguar shower filter there. It's just chlorine is in your tap water, and you're putting chlorine on your hair, which is very drying. The next question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on honey? What honey should you look for to, what's the best basically and what's the worst? So the worst type of honey is fake honey, and we see this in, big stores like Walmart where they'll throw in some high fructose corn syrup. I bet there's a honey with some yellow 5 out there. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it exists. Don't get that. The next step up is gonna be, your basic honey. The problem with this is it's not raw. The best honey you can get is raw local honey, and if you can get raw local honey in glass, that's amazing. There's been studies that show that consumption of local honey can prevent against allergies and bolster the immune system. So look for actual like raw local honey. It'll have some of that pollen in there sometimes even. It's like a real food, and it's absolutely amazing. It tastes a little bit different sometimes than like honey because like it's less like filtered and sometimes even less sweet. That's what you want to go for. The next question is going off one of the ones I did previously. What are your thoughts on shower filters? I think they're one of the best investments you can get for your bathroom. I think the one I have is like 50 bucks. My buddy gave it to me for free because he runs a shower filter company, Organic Jaguar. The big thing with shower filters is chlorine. I'm not too concerned about my shower water being perfect. Like I'm not going to be drinking it. So I have my reverse osmosis water under my sink. But as far as shower filters, you want to get one that filters out chlorine. And trust me, it's such a game changer for your hair, skin, and nails, and just like, you don't want to be breathing in chlorine. And they're affordable, they're really easy to install. I don't see why you shouldn't have a shower filter. It's one of those easy things for health. All right, guys, that's it for this week's AMA. As always, keep showing me love by leaving your questions below, subscribe, engage, just leave comments on all the YouTube videos. Let me know what type of content you want to see, and I'll do another one of these AMAs next week. Get to your questions, all that. We'll see if I'm right or wrong about the Warriors. I hope they win. But yeah, I'm going to San Diego next weekend. Going to link up with Austin, hand out some of our products to people. So I'll be down there. And yeah, coming at you next week with an AMA. Appreciate you. Leave your questions below. Peace.